The Irish Times reported that Dublin City Council are prosecuting Derry Road Limited for destroying the home of 1916 martyr Michael O'Reilly at Herbert Park. It was wanting Free State destruction and iconoclasm. RTE reported that Provisional Sinn Féin voted to support non-jury courts. The Irish Examiner reported that Mary Lou MacDonald defended Provisional Sinn Féin's support for non-jury courts, especially in relation to Republicans. That shows where that party is. The Irish Times reported that people are leaving Dublin as owning a home is too expensive and rents are increasing. Dublin Live reported that Gaelscoil Anya is raising funds with Gaelic Christmas cards. The British Social Attitude Survey found that 64% of Britons think that working class people do not get their fair share of wealth, and they are correct in that assertion. The Guardian reported that the supply lines crisis is a perfect storm that could blow the world economy off course. How's supply side economics working out now for you? Truthfoot reported that the Federal Reserve officials have been banned from owning individual stock. It's a start, but it does not go nearly far enough to addressing the corruption of the Federal Reserve in the United States. Return to Now reported that United States' first hemp wood factory is being built. The Associated Press reported that the United States believes Iran was behind a drone attack on a United States base in Syria. And it begs the question, why is there a United States military base in Syria if not to aid the jihadis? The Cradle reported that Israel approved a $1.5 billion budget for a strike on Iran. This is suicidal on Israel's part. Tehran Times reported that Iran warned that an Israeli attack on Iran would provoke a shocking response which would cost Israel billions of dollars. Newsweek reported that the battle at Lake Changjin, which is about China beating United States militarily during the Korean War, is breaking box office records. The Morning Star reported that progressives around the world oppose anti-China propaganda and propaganda for a war against China. CNN reported that China and Russia held a joint patrol in the Western Pacific. The India Times reported that China built the world's fastest quantum computer, which is 10 million times faster than Google's. The Wall Street Journal reported that Taiwan's president confirmed that there are US troops being deployed in Taiwan. To that I say, let's go Brandon. The Cradle reported that Yemen has Saudi forces surrounded in Marib and the liberation of the city is progressing well. Art News reported that the fertility goddess known as the Young Woman of Amajak will replace the statue of Christopher Columbus in Mexico City. Haaretz reported that Judah Benjamin, the Attorney General of the Confederacy, was the biggest Jewish slave owner in America. As The Atlantic reported in 1995, more Jews owned slaves than white Christians. At the height of slavery in America, 78% of the slave owners were Jewish. 4 in 10 Jews owned slaves, and 7 in 2,000 white Christians owned slaves. Truthout reported that 500,000 South Korean workers walked off their jobs in a general strike. All power to them. The Jerusalem Post reported that the first public Israeli flight landed in Saudi Arabia. Birds of a feather flock together. Live Action reported that Guatemala affirmed its pro-life position by joining the Geneva Consensus Declaration, and El Salvador upheld its ban on abortion. NBC reported that Sitting Bull's great-grandson was identified by DNA fragments. The World Socialist website reported that the German Defense Minister Kramp-Karrenbauer threatened Russia with nuclear weapons. I don't know how stupid she is if she is unaware of mutually assured destruction. The Telegraph reported that Tories have taxes at their highest level since Clement Attlee. The Irish Independent reported that Mary Lou MacDonald wants to be Taoiseach. That's more bad news for Ireland, especially those living in the Free State. Life News reported that the Supreme Court of the US stopped New York from forcing Christians to fund abortion by ordering New York to reconsider the Diocese of Albany versus Imami case. Russia Today reported that Britain is on course to triple its fossil fuel emissions in over 40 new fossil fuel exploration and extraction projects. Britain's carbon footprint is over 326.1 million tonnes, and its greenhouse gas emissions are over 414.1 million tonnes. The British per capita carbon footprint is over 12.7 tonnes. Capitalist corporations are responsible for the majority of said figures, as a minority of emissions, 40%, are from British households. So it's not the working class people doing this. Ireland's carbon footprint is over 32.8 million tonnes. Ireland's emissions are over 61.5 million tonnes. Ireland's per capita carbon footprint is over 7.624 tonnes, and the per capita emission footprint is over 13.3 tonnes. Ireland causes 0.1% of world emissions. The World Economic Forum reported that China produces twice as many graduates a year as the United States. Breaking Points reported that the Lincoln Project were caught role-playing as white supremacists, pretending to support Terry McAuliffe's opponent Glenn Youngkin in Virginia's governor race. McAuliffe governed the state with the worst record in workers' rights and presided over Charlottesville. The buck stopped with him, and it was no surprise that Glenn Youngkin won. Also, Youngkin was the pro-life candidate, and McAuliffe was the pro-abortion candidate, as Lila Rose pointed out. And Virginia made the right choice, in my opinion. Get rid of McAuliffe. He, quite frankly, deserved to be booted out of office. And it's a sign of a red wave that's coming, because Biden has delivered little. And he couldn't even get the layup of a withdrawal from Afghanistan right. He just had to blow up an innocent aid worker and children as he departed. NBC reported that 71% of the United States say it's on the wrong track. 22% say it's on the right track. 55% disapprove of Joe Biden. 42% approve of Joe Biden. 37% say Biden can handle a crisis. On what evidence? 47% say Biden cannot handle a crisis. 37% say Biden is competent. Again, on what evidence are they giving that opinion? 50% say Biden is incompetent, and they are correct. UTV View from Stormont reported that 20% of RUC recruits are from a Catholic background. The Houston Chronicle reported that 55% of Texans support the Heartbeat Act. Smithsonian reported that an energy, science and engineering study found that the carbon footprint of blue hydrogen is 20% more than coal and 20% more than natural gas and 60% more than diesel. This vindicates Cornell University's study, and this was reported on Channel 4 Dispatches. How green is the government? That programme also reported on the Drax power station. It provides between 6 and 7% of Britain's energy needs. It was used as a coal plant, and it used to burn 20 million tonnes of coal a year. It now burns over 14 million tonnes of biomass a year. And Britain produces 11.1 million tonnes of wood. So, as you can already see, the math is not working out. Biomass produces 150% of the carbon footprint of coal, and between 300 and 400% of the carbon footprint of natural gas. Live Action reported that NBC drama Ordinary Joe, CBS sitcom The Neighbourhood, and Netflix's Maid all promote pro-life views. Market Watch, the British Medical Journal reported that poverty is the most common reason cited for abortion. If this isn't a good reason to eliminate poverty, then I don't know what is. Australia has the highest per capita greenhouse gas emission at 21.63 tonnes, followed by United States at 19.93 tonnes and Canada at 19.52 tonnes. Qatar has the highest per capita carbon footprint at 30.7 tonnes, followed by Kuwait at 21.3 tonnes, Bahrain at 19.9 tonnes, United Arab Emirates at 18.2 tonnes, and Brunei at 15.2 tonnes. Mint Press News reported that the United States is organising a colour revolution in Cuba for November the 15th. Oh goody. Can't they just leave Cuba alone and just lift the embargo? Business Insider reported that Wisconsin is in the process of eliminating child labour laws in order to lower workers' wages. And that's just a brilliant innovation of capitalism right there. In June 2021, Business Insider reported that the reconciliation bill would be $6 trillion over 10 years. That's $600 billion a year. The Associated Press reported it also. Then Business Insider reported that Manchin called for a $4 trillion reconciliation bill over 10 years. That's $400 billion a year, so that's an automatic decrease from the original at $200 billion more. And then the Wall Street Journal reported in September 2021 that the reconciliation bill was $3.5 trillion over 10 years, so that's $350 billion a year it was down to at that point. In October, CBS reported that Biden called for a reconciliation bill between 1.9 trillion to 2.2 trillion over 10 years. So by that stage, the upper limit was $220 billion a year and the lower limit was $190 billion a year. CBS and the Associated Press reported that Biden is calling for 1.75 trillion over 10 years. That's $175 billion a year. That is 2.57% of the 6.8 trillion a year US budget. The Democratic Party is now the far right. There's no denying it. The Resistance Trench reported that the IRGC shot a United States drone near Oman in the Persian Gulf. Professor Mohammed Morandi reported that the United States stole an Iranian tanker en route to Venezuela. The crew betrayed Iran and helped the United States to steal the fuel. The tanker, with the same crew, was seized by the IRGC Navy. The Cradle reported that United States trained operatives boosted the ranks of Khorasan, the ISIS affiliate in Afghanistan. So the US is doing to the Taliban government in Afghanistan what it originally used the Taliban for against the Afghan government. ironic. CNN reported that China and Russia are trying to lift United Nations sanctions on North Korea. Let's hope they succeed. CNN also reported that 50% of Republicans in the United States don't believe that their votes are counted accurately. Live Action reported that Ohio's 2363 Act will protect children from abortion at the point of fertilization. Well, that's good news. The Clonrine News reported that the SDLP called on the RUC to recruit more Catholics. Aren't there enough scoundrels being recruited by the RUC? They don't need any more. They've got too many as it is. There are at least 10,280 British military personnel occupying Ireland. 6,960 RUC, 1,740 British Army soldiers, 80 RAF, 10 Royal Navy, 1,440 Ministry of Defence staff, 50 MI5 agents, and an unknown number of MI6 agents carrying out over 20 operations in the Free State. Live Action reported that Indiana's abortion complication reporting law went into effect after 3 years. The Canary reported that Julian Assange faces deadly risk in United States prisons. The Irish News reported that an Irish language street sign is being reviewed given its possible proximity to Clifton Street, Orange Hall. And the Irish Times asked a rhetorical question: is Dublin losing its cultural character? The answer is yes, and we all know why.